Congratulations for getting all the way to week 5. After this week, we have just week 6. We have 8 weeks left. I know I have to count that. English, not math. You're in week 5. That is really awesome. I'm really proud of all of you. You guys have been doing a really wonderful job, especially with this virtual learning. I know for some of you, it's like easy peasy and you really love it. And for some of you, you're like, I need in person, I need checklists, I need to be in school. And so you guys are doing a really awesome job, and you should be very proud of yourself because this is a little unprecedented the way we're trying to do things. So last week, you picked your legislation. Awesome job on that. This week, we're going to be developing your position on that legislation. So your position is where you stand with this legislation. Do you think this bill or this resolution is a good idea? Are you like, yes, this should have been done yesterday, it's incredible? Or did you pick this legislation because you thought, holy moly guacamole, this should never become a law, this resolution should never be passed by the House and by the Senate, like this needs to be stopped right now? You're gonna have one of those two positions. You're either for it or you're against it. What we're not writing is an equivocating paper. Equivocating meaning you like don't pick a side. You're like, it's kind of good and it's kind of bad and I see both sides. I love that you can see both sides. I love that. But the value of writing something in this context where you just talk about both sides, it doesn't really weigh that heavy again in this context. We are writing position papers because we want to convince your peers that your opinion is valid, and we also want to educate your peers on the legislation. So if we took this to a scenario in our government, in the House or in the Senate, if a senator or a representative were to speak in favor of or against a bill or a resolution, they're not just going to talk about the pros and cons and never come to a decision. They're going to tell you, this is how I feel about it, and this is why you should also feel the same way. And that's what we're going for here, because we're giving our position on these pieces of legislation. So that's what we're doing this week. We are only doing the first half of the position. We are going to continue next week with the other half, but we're going to break this in two because we're doing all of this virtually, and that could be very overwhelming. But we're doing the first half this week, the second half next week. You will have two options for how you want to do this. You can either write a paper, 5 paragraphs introduction, 3 paragraphs in the middle, right, with your claims or your reasons, reason 1, reason 2, reason 3, and then a conclusion. Or you can do it all in a video, right? In your video, you're gonna have all the same parts, your introduction, your 3 body paragraphs with your reasons, and your conclusion, but you would just do it all verbally, right? So you wouldn't necessarily turn in a paper, you would just do it verbally in a video. Please excuse Phoebe. Okay. So you have those two options. If you are doing the paper, then the culminating product for this week is going to be 3 paragraphs that are those 3 body paragraphs, your reason paragraphs. And when you click on the assignment, you'll see that it'll be explained a little bit more. If you are choosing the video route, then this week you are submitting just an outline of those reasons, right? Because if you were doing the video, you don't want to write a paper, so you're not writing a paper, but you are still gonna do an outline where you list your reason or your claim, your evidence, and your elaboration, because going into the video, you are gonna need to know what you're talking about. And the rubric is not going to be any different between the paper and the video. So your video also needs to have all the same parts that an essay would have, you're just saying it, right? So this week, you wanna go ahead and look at that outline that I have for you on eCampus. The outline gives you the entire essay, right? So if you're writing the paper, then it's an outline of the essay, which you would then use to write to your paper, to write your 5 paragraphs. Or if you're doing the video, you would use the outline to build your outline, which you're gonna submit part of that this week. And your outline will help you create your video so that you have an outline of what you're gonna be saying in your video. So look at that outline. Then you're gonna go ahead and do your research, right? Because this week we're focusing on that middle part of your argument, the reasons, the claims, and you need research to substantiate those. So again, look at the outline, get an idea of maybe what kind of evidence you wanna use, do your research, and then you're either gonna write those up in 3 paragraphs if you're doing the essay, or you're gonna put those into your outline if you are doing the video, okay? That is what you're gonna be submitting this week, either 3 paragraphs that are your reasons or your claims, claim 1, claim 2, claim 3, or reason 1, reason 2, reason 3, or your outline, which is just gonna be an abbreviated form of a written paragraph, right? So that's what you're submitting this week. Next week, you are gonna finish writing that. So if you're doing the essay, you're gonna write the intro and conclusion, and then voila, you're gonna have your essay. Or you are going to finish thinking about the intro and conclusion, and then, again, this is next week, not this week, you're going to be posting your finished products in the discussion board. So your finished essay will go up next week, or your finished video will go up next week. And then, after that, we're gonna debate about it, but that's where we're headed. After you do just the reason portion, because again, this week we're just focusing on the reasons, you're gonna take a short quiz. The quiz is just 2 short response questions. I feel very confident that you guys will answer the questions well. And yeah, so that is what this week is going to look like. Most of your time is really going to be spent doing the research and then writing your paragraphs or doing your outline, right? The quiz should not be super time consuming. It's just sort of like a recap, right? Why do we write a position? What is good evidence? I just really want to make sure that we're all clear on that, because that's a really important concept that we all need to understand, is using good evidence. So yes, that is going to be this week. If you have any questions, then either email me, call the Google Voice number, text the Google Voice number, or jump into one of our class meetings. We meet on Mondays and Thursdays at 9 a.m. I know it's early, but some people have also jumped into my advisement because they can't make it to the earlier class, and that's totally fine too. If you have questions, you can reach me there as well.